Yeah, looking a little crusty. Ooh, looking real corroded in there. Whew. That thing is...
Is it full? I mean, is it... Oh, it is. Look at all that. Got the engine nearly back together again so I can take some base measurements. I need to buy some hoses that I left at the boat. So I'm trying to get some idea about how big these things are. Yeah, so I'm taking this super slow. The engine is basically back together now. I'm going to go ahead and give it a supply of fuel, give it a supply of cooling water, and that cooling water will include muriatic acid, diluted to about 5% or so. That will clear out the cooling water passages in the engine. And furthermore, it's been taking me a very long time to kind of get this together because I'm trying to think about it, and I'm not a fast thinker. But I was turned on to the fact that they make an adapter here to take the place of the injector for compression tests. I'm crossing my fingers that that's actually going to work. It's a really cheap solution. I was trying to find a way I could machine one myself or have someone else machine one. The one I was pointed to is less than $23 US, super cheap, but I've got to do some more research on that. But we'll get those two things done, the compression test, the clearance of the passageways, the determination whether or not that, you can barely see it down there, but whether or not that banjo fitting is actually, with the new washers, is actually stopping that oil leak. And if all those things converge, if I get all those done, then depending upon what the outcome of those things are, I will then be stripping the engine back down, finally doing the valve job, reseating the valves if necessary, and the piston rings again if necessary, honing the piston and so forth. So before I start this engine up, I want to make sure this is better secure, and these threads need cleaning up. This being a single cylinder engine, I imagine it's going to flop around quite a bit when I start it. Okay, I got some new fuel line, and I bought a ton of it. I bought 12 feet of it, which is probably overkill, but hopefully I'll use it to redo it on the boat too. But for now, what I need to do is I need to connect the outlet right here. This is the return line. The return line at the top of the injector right here. I'm going to run that back into a fuel jug. This is full diesel, and then we've got the inlet right here at the lift pump. So I'll run the line to the lift pump. That will come up around through this tube here, back here, up around to the fuel filter, which I will fill to its top to help prime it. And then from the fuel filter, it comes back out. Actually, it comes in because the arrow, there's the arrow in, here's the arrow out, comes back down through this tube, back around to the high pressure fuel pump right here. And then from the high pressure fuel pump, it runs up along this metal tube over this way, over here, right to the inlet of the injector right there. Okay. For the cooling water, and what I'm doing now, of course, is the muriatic acid, the diluted muriatic acid. What I'm going to do is, instead of pumping this out through the exhaust to cool the exhaust, I'm just going to take it right out of the thermostat outlet. This is the outlet of the thermostat housing, and so the hot water would come out here. Typically it would flow through this pipe right here, this hose, and be injected into the exhaust outlet. The inlet is actually down here behind, I don't know if you can see it, there it is right there. That little nub right there is the inlet to the water pump, and then that flows up through this hose, and then it would enter the passages of the engine here, the head and the block here. And if the thermostat is open, I think it opens at 42 degrees Celsius. If it's open, it will keep flowing through and then out here and then out the exhaust. If this is closed, however, the water it'll go in this way, but it won't be able to move. It'll just stop, and then it'll flow straight through the thermostat housing and then directly out until the engine warms up. Okay, the filter is already saturated. This is going to drip some no matter what, I think. And so I just filled it up it's maybe half an inch from the bottom. It's probably too much and it'll probably overflow. Let's see. Yeah, that's too much. Okay, now it's about 1.25 inches from the top, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. All right, I'm going to attempt to go ahead and prime this out. And this is I got confused when I bought this engine, and being new to it, they actually highlighted this this bolt right here. But that is, I think it could be used as such, but it's not the bleed bolt. This one over here toward the front of the engine is the bleed bolt. So we'll open that up just a little bit here, and we'll start activating the fuel feed pump and see if we can get some fuel going through the system here. I should go a little further to say that, and I didn't know this because I could never see it, there is a hole in the center of the bolt itself, and that hole is what allows it to breathe. So you do have to bring this out. It seems to me you've got to turn this out, again, 5 millimeters or 1/4 inch or so. Okay, so on the fuel lift pump here, what I found was oftentimes the camshaft wouldn't be in the right position, and when you push down on the pump lever here to start circulating or pumping fuel, it would have a hard stop at the bottom about that far, and that actually isn't pumping anything. What you have to do is you have to bump the engine over or use the crank to turn over the engine just a little bit so that cam is in the right position, and when you do that, you've got extra movement at the bottom here. And you can actually hear the diaphragm. And in this case, because I have such a long length of fuel hose, because I want to keep that as long as I can for use on the boat, it's going to take me a while, but I opened this banjo bolt up so I can find out when I'm starting to get fuel through the lines from the tank I'm using here. Okay, what a mess. What I decided to do was I raised this up so it was higher than the engine, and then after pumping on this for quite a, well, it wasn't too long, maybe 5 minutes, I decided that let's work smarter, not harder. So I took the inlet hose off, I sucked on the hose for just a moment, started a siphon from down here, which is exactly what I was hoping to do, fill this hose up. And then because the banjo bolt was that started very quickly, but then I connected it, and because the banjo bolt was loose, it was just pouring out of here. It was just going everywhere, so I got a bit of a mess. But then I cranked that down, and that's all well and good. But again, with this being higher than the engine, it flowed right in through here, through the steel line, right up here. And of course, I had this bleed valve open, and so now, and then it was squirting out of here. And just to demonstrate what I mean, because we want to show you what actually came of it. And you see it just bleeding out everywhere right there. Look at that. So that's coming right out of the. So we'll close that down, of course. If I really wanted to bleed this very fast, maybe I could get a standalone bottle and just raise it up, and just go ahead and open this up, and it would probably just flow right through. And this next part really should be pretty quick and easy. Matter of fact, maybe I'll just open that up now and see what comes of it here. Just back that off a little bit. Oh, and there you go. You see that? So that's just squirting everywhere too. All right, I just have some of this muriatic acid I think it said something like it was 35, 34, 31.45%. But what we're going to do is just going to put a couple of pints in here, and then we're going to fill up. We basically use 1 pint per gallon of water. So we'll just go ahead and put this up in here. And I'm guesstimating here. That's probably fine. Whew, this stuff stinks. So let me get some water in here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Oh boy, that's harsh. Because I failed to remember someone advising me to add the muriatic acid to the water instead of the water to the muriatic acid. Just a couple of hoses. They're below the water line. We'll see. I'm not sure what the ability of that pump is to run. It shouldn't run dry. I'm going to turn it over by hand and see if I can get some water moving through here. Okay, I got enough of the fluid. You probably can't see that. Maybe you can. It going from here, this is the inlet. It goes down, of course, and around. And I just stuck the end of it down. It's got a hook, so I just stuck it down below the water. It sucked up, lifted it up, and it filled the hose. And then eventually, now it's got enough. When I hand crank, there's a siphon, and it does suck water out of the bucket. So now I think I've got just about everything I need. Oh, it doesn't really want to start, does it? The water drain was open, and so I had a bunch of water spilling out on the side here. I don't think that is the reason why it's not starting, but let's give this a try now. Matter of fact, I know why it's not starting. Let's go ahead and let's give it some juice here. Okay. Now that's not working very well, but check this out. This is starting to come through, and it's full of crap. I actually don't really need this to run. I just want to fill the passages up with this ability. But I mean, really, it'd be nice if this thing would start too. So let's give it a go. Joy is here with me, and she's not terribly happy with the whole situation. Well, actually it's pretty quick for the let's go ahead and open this up and see what we've got there. Kind of a bummer it's not starting. Okay, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if there's any fluid coming out here through the injector. So let's see if we can do this. Seems like it's getting close, but I don't see any fluid coming out. Yeah, I'm a moron. It's not this one. This is the return, not the inlet. It's this that I want to loosen up. Let's see what I got here. Okay. That's the inlet right there, and that should spill out. So let's try this again. So it is definitely dripping. And so let's go ahead and lock that back off. Doesn't really really want to go, does it? Well, let that sit a moment. Yeah, pretty close. Glad that smoke is more or less stopped. Okay, so we turned cooling right here. Let me get this back under the water. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to start it up. I got that water going through there. I know the lighting sucks. But thank goodness that I've got it running. It's not bouncing around nearly as much as I thought it would too on this wood pallet here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that a few more minutes and likely maybe go ahead and dump the water and then rinse it down with fresh water, just non-acidic water. Okay, I let it run for just a few minutes. I actually thought maybe a warmer passageways would probably be better for this, but you can see what kind of crud is coming out of there. These passages look nice and clean to me now. Let's see in